Hello class, today we're going to be talking about creating polynomials. So when we're given certain characteristics of a polynomial, we need to write into a function. That's what we're going to be doing today. So let's first remember that if we are given a function zeros as x equals a, b, and c, then we can write the function in the form of f of x equals x minus a times x minus b times x minus c. So for instance, if a function has zeros at -4, -2, and 3, then we can write the function as f of x equals x plus 4 times x plus 2 times x minus 3. So just notice we put the numbers in there and that the signs change. The signs, when they're negative, become positive, and when they're positive, it becomes negative. So that's how we write it. Also, if we are given a leading coefficient, we just write that number out front. So for instance, say if we have a leading coefficient of 5, or we're given the same example, we have zeros at -4, -2, and 3, but we're also given that it has a leading coefficient of 5, well, we just write the 5 right up front, just like that. So also, there are two forms that we're going to be writing in. One is in factored form. This is factored form. And the other one is going to be standard form. In standard form, if remember, is factored form all multiplied together. So standard form would look something like this. F of x equals ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d. We're all familiar with this form, right? Where it's just all written out, there's no parentheses. So sometimes we're going to have to write it in factored form, sometimes we'll have to write it in standard form. And for all of these examples, we're going to do both, just so I can show y'all. So let's go over some examples. Here, a function has a leading coefficient of 4 and has zeros at -3, -1, and 2. So write the function in factored form. Well, this isn't all that bad. It's really, you just plug it right in. So we have f of x is equal to, our coefficient goes right up front, so that's going to be 4. And then we write our zeros in the parentheses with x. So -3 is going to turn to x plus 3. -1 is going to turn to x plus 1. And 2 is going to turn to x minus 2. And there you have it. There is the function in factored form. But what if I want to write the function in standard form? Well, then we're going to have to multiply all these together. So that's all we're going to do, is just multiply them. So let's see, I'll rewrite it. And remember how we multiply things together. We only want to multiply two factors together at a time. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this 4 and I'm going to distribute it just to any factor. We just need to distribute to one factor. You don't want to distribute to every factor, just one. So I'm just going to distribute to the first factor here. So it's going to equal 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 3 is 12. And then, yeah. Next one, and then we have x plus 1, x minus 2 still. So next what I'm going to do is I want to multiply all these together. And it doesn't matter which ones we multiply together, but I'm going to multiply 2 together next. You can either pick these 2 to multiply together, or these 2. It's up to you. I'll just go ahead and pick the first 2. So what we're going to want to do here is we're going to want to FOIL this. Remember, that means we're going to multiply this 4x to both of the terms in the other factor, and then multiply the 12 to both of the terms in the other factor. So 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times 1 is 4x. And then 12 times x is 12x. And then 12 times 1 is 12. and we still have this last factor. Now, before we go ahead and multiply these two together, go ahead and simplify this first factor. Notice we can combine these like terms. So by doing so, it's going to make our future multiplication much easier. So we're going to have 4x squared, and then 4x plus 12x is 16x plus 12, and then x minus 2. So now what we want to do is we want to take this. Now we're going to want to multiply these together, and to do so we want to take this first term, multiply it to both of the terms in the second factor, take the second term and multiply it to both terms in the second factor, and take the third term and multiply it to both of the terms in the second factor. So we're going to be doing multiplication a total of 6 times in this step. So just be careful, keep all of your numbers together, and yeah, that's my best advice. So 4x squared times x is 4x cubed. 4x squared times negative 2 is negative 8x squared. And then do the same thing with 16x. So 16x times x is 16x squared. And 16x times negative 2 is negative 32x. And then finally do the same thing with 12. 12 times x is 12x. And 12 times negative 2 is negative 24. So we're almost done here. We just need to combine like terms. Notice that we have 2 squared terms and we have 2 x terms. Let's combine those. So we have 4x cubed. Negative 8x squared plus 16x squared is positive 8x squared. And then negative 32x plus 12x is minus 20x. Then minus 24. And this is our answer. So the most work we are doing today is really just converting it from factored form into standard form when we're asked to put it into standard form. Putting it in factor form wasn't that bad at all. We just plugged it in. But this is what takes all the algebra skills. So let's go over another example. Now we have a function that has a leading coefficient of negative 1 and has zeros at negative 4, 3, and 5. So write the function in factored form. Well, f of x is equal to, our coefficient is negative 1, so I just put a negative out front. Or I'll just do negative 1, why not? And then time for our zeros. So negative 4, 3, and 5, that's going to turn to x plus 4, x minus 3, and x minus 5. And we have just put it into factored form. So now, again, we're going to multiply all these together and put it into standard form. So I'll go ahead and rewrite it. And remember, it doesn't matter which ones we do first. In fact, on this first step, I'm going to multiply these two together and multiply these two together in one step. So let's see here. Here I just want to distribute this negative. So this is going to, negative 1 times x is just going to be negative x. Negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. And I'm going to multiply these two together at one time. So we're going to want to FOIL these. So x times x and x times negative 5. And then negative 3 times x and negative 3 times 5. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. Negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And negative 3 times negative 5 is positive 15. Now before we go on to the next step, let's clean up these like terms here. We have 5x and a 3x. So or a negative 5x and a negative 3x. So let's combine those. So give us negative 8x plus 15. And then finally, we just need to multiply these last two factors together. So I'm going to multiply this negative x to all three of these. And I'm going to multiply negative 4 to all three of these. So let's see what we get here. Negative x times x squared is negative x cubed. Negative x times negative 8x is positive 8x squared. And negative x times 15 is minus 15x. And then finally do the same thing with this negative 4. So negative 4 times x squared is minus 4x squared. Negative 4 times negative 8 is positive 32x. And then negative 4 times 15 is negative 60. And then finally, one last thing, we just need to clean this up. Oh, did I do something strange here? What did I do here? Let's see, I just want to verify this, that. Good, good. Okay, no, everything's good. So notice we have 2x squared terms, and we have 2x terms. So let's combine those. So we're going to get negative x cubed. Let's see, 8x squared minus 4x squared. That's going to be plus 4x squared. Negative 15x minus 30 or plus 32x. That's going to be plus 17x. And then minus 60. And there we have it. We have our answer in standard form. All right, let's do one more example here. And this one's going to look a little different. And the reason it looks different is because notice we have i's now in our values. So remember i's, they're imaginary numbers where I squared is equal to negative 1. Remember that? Because I equaled the square root of negative 1. Now when we write in factored form, it's not going to be any different. We just want to write the i's right in there. So this function has a leading coefficient of negative 3, and it has zeros at 3, negative 2i, and positive 2i. So we're just going to write it like we have been. F of x equals, the coefficient goes up front, so negative 3, and then times x minus 3. Remember the signs change. X plus 2i, and then x minus 2i. And we have just written it in factored form. So the i's don't change anything here, but something a little different will happen in standard form. And that's going to happen, that's going to come across when we multiply our i's together. So let's see. I'll rewrite it. And here, when we're dealing with i's, I would actually recommend multiplying the ones with i's together. It'll just make the math a little easier. So we're going to multiply these together first. We're going to do it just like what we did last time. I'm going to distribute this negative 3 to this first term. Then I'm going to multiply these two together on the same step. So negative 3 times x is negative 3x. And then negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And then now I'm going to multiply these two together. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 2i is minus 2ix. Be careful there. And then 2i times x is positive 2ix. And then 2i times negative 2i, that's going to be negative, let's see, 2 times 2 is 4. I times I is I squared. So negative 4i squared. And then notice these will cancel. Our like terms in this case cancel. Ix is the same as Ix, so we can combine those. So I could actually rewrite this one as negative 3x plus 9 times x squared minus 4i squared. And notice one more thing. We have an I squared. Remember what I squared equals? Negative 1. So let's go ahead and substitute that in now, okay? Before we multiply any further, because it'll make our math easier. Let's get rid of the i's as soon as we can. So negative 3x plus 9 times x squared minus 4. And I squared is equal to negative 1. And we can go ahead and simplify this now. So let's multiply these two together. Negative 3x plus 9 and we have x squared, and then negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And then finally we can multiply these together now. So we're going to multiply the negative 3x to both of these, and we're going to multiply the 9 to both of these in the second term. So negative 3x times x squared is negative 3x cubed. Negative 3x times 4 is negative 12x. And then 9 times x squared is 9x squared. And then 9 times 4 is 36. One last thing, we don't have any like terms to combine, but notice that we do like to write our terms in descending order of degree. So like 3, so it's cubed, and then our next one would be squared, and then x, and then our constant. So let's just rewrite this. I'm just going to move things around a little. I'm going to keep the x cubed out front, so 3x cubed. I'm going to move this one next, so plus 9x squared minus 12x plus 36. And that's how we do it. So notice that the i's went away in our final equation here in standard form. So the trick with the i's, just remember that that I squared equals negative 1. Multiply the two i's together to get this, and the middle ones should always cancel out. And then just substitute the negative 1 in for the I squared, and then it should work out just like the rest. So that's all I have for y'all. Get started on the worksheet. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a good day. Bye.